Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
Welcome to A Creator-Based Life, the weekly podcast of CMH Coaching for Life and the Creator-Based Way. I'm Beth, the creator and author of The Creator-Based Way, and I'm here with Jacine Bonnet and Jennifer DeRoos. Jacine, you want to just tell us about yourself for a sec, and then Jen can talk about herself? I know it's your favorite thing, Jen.
She loves to talk about herself.
She hates it. That's why I asked her.
I know.
I am a creator-based business coach, and I joined this team, gosh, has it been 3 or 4 years ago? And
3 or 4 years.
it just has been my pleasure to work with such inspired women and be able to share with y'all the things that we're learning and the things how we're growing in knowledge and inspiration, just moving forward, right, in a higher and holier way. And that's our goal for you, is that you get something from this podcast that help you move forward in a higher and holier way.
Yeah, bring that light into your life.
Yeah.
Your turn.
I guess it's my turn.
It's your turn.
My name is Jennifer, and I'm a creator-based coach, a master life coach, and also a hypnotherapist. And yeah, that's me.
Jen is really busy with her garden this time of year.
Yeah.
She's got some beautiful things going on out there. And she is a very busy lady. Did your driveway get put back? Her driveway washed out last week.
Yeah, it got the first like substrate, I guess is what they call it, layer, the smaller stuff, and it has to be packed down with us driving on it and some weather, and then they'll put down the big stuff. But yeah,
It's coming.
Mhm.
It's coming. Hopefully you won't get any more torrential rains before you get it done.
Well, the creek flows out, whatever.
Yeah, it's all right. Well, today we are talking about answering the question, why did my mood just shift? Why this sudden change of feeling? And the idea of frequencies, which I find absolutely fascinating, and creating boundaries so that we have just a little bit more say in what happens with our moods. So I know for me, I can be singing and sailing around as my normal cheerful self and go into a group of, I don't know, 20, 30 people, and be sitting there and begin to feel very emotional. And maybe you guys have had that experience too, or have been shopping and walked past somebody who just gave off a really funky vibe, and you're like, I'm just going to go next aisle over. Thank you very much. You know, have you had experiences like that? Other things that where you just had this dramatic feeling shift? Tell me about it.
Well, for me, it's more of when I come across somebody that has like extreme trauma energy, because I come from history of trauma, physical trauma, emotional trauma, that type of thing. So when I'm around somebody that starts to, like, their nervous system goes like, I will resonate with that.
Yeah, with this, like all the neurons in your nervous system says, "Oh, I know what to do here."
Yeah, I know this feeling. Yeah, and everything. Yeah. And so it's because of the coaching and the other things that I want to do, like hypnotherapy and things like that. I've had to learn how to recognize that that's what's happening, and then like calm myself, or put up like kind of like a space, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more an energetic boundary than a spoken boundary.
Yeah. But then there are sometimes it's just so bad that I have to leave like their presence a little bit and say, oh, I need to go walk
8 to 10 feet around them. Their
I'm gonna go get a drink of water, or something like that. Yeah. And just kind of like remove myself from it. Yeah. To me, it's a really tangible feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could give it a color, I can even give it, depending on the person.
Yeah.
There's actually a color there. Yeah. What about you, Jacine? Have you had experiences like that?
It's interesting. I had a couple of thoughts that came to my mind. I had a thought of when I ran in the valley. I would run very early in the morning by myself with my mace, and we lived in the boonies, but we did have neighbors that I ran past. And I remember as I was going up Turk Hill, there was a guy that would come out on his front porch and smoke, and it was kind of like he was lurking almost, and it kind of gave me like the creepy, like, oh, get my mace out tomorrow, I'm running with my dog,
Yeah
kind of thing. And it was really interesting as I explored that and got curious with it, because I was running up the hill the next morning, same thing came out, and then I think it was the third morning that he brought his garbage out and he said hi to me. And it was really interesting that weird feeling that I had created. I had created that with my thoughts, like, because it's early in the morning, what's this guy doing outside? My husband's a cop, all that, right? Yeah. But once he came out and said hi to me, that shifted. So I was just like, that's interesting that I've had experiences with like Jen where I've had a different energy and it was real, and but then this one was an energy that I actually created with my own thoughts. So
cool.
Yeah, it was really interesting because once he said hi to me, that my thoughts shifted, and it was like, hey, he's a son of God, and he's okay. You don't have to be worried or concerned, Yeah.
That is really cool. Well, I really like Nick Ortner and the tapping solution. I've been following them for as long as they've been around, Nick and Jessica, right? And one of the things he suggested that kind of got me thinking on this and brought it back to light was when we feel those heebie-jeebies, or we feel like, in my case, extra emotional. I mean, and it's usually like weepy, overwhelming emotional, just a super sensitivity, that we ask ourselves, is this emotion mine?
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned something about mirror neurons. And I thought maybe, Jen, can you speak to mirror neurons a little bit?
I totally forgot to like freshen up on this one.
Okay, well, we could just play with it.
Well, what I remember about it is you do have certain neurons in your brain that when you come across somebody that is very similar to you, it lights those up. So it's almost like you resonate. Like I resonate with somebody that has an experience that's similar to my trauma, or like I will resonate with somebody that has a similar liking for me. But it's also like, if I can remember correctly, don't quote me on this. Is like,
we'll just say, y'all Google if you have questions. But we'll give you somewhere to get started.
But it's also, if you ever look at people that start to kind of like have the same mannerisms or do the same things, it's because that's happening. And it's people that spend a lot of time together.
Well, and I know mirroring, JC, you use this in your coaching, right? With the
Yeah.
doctors. You want to
Mhm.
speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, they call it matching and mirroring. And the first time I ever actually learned of it was when I was taking a coaching course with a Tony Robbins coaching course. And he talked about matching and mirroring and how our brains are programmed to connect with others. And that's part of how we connect is by, Beth smiling. And so I'm going to smile. And so now there's that connection. And
Or
maybe,
this, when you were sitting, I'm like, oh, I want to sit like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It
Or,
makes us
yeah,
feel one
Yeah.
yeah.
for one another.
So when you're paying it, like when you're present with someone, pay attention. It's really an interesting thing and see, oh gosh, they cross their feet at their ankle and do it purposely. And then like Tony took it to another step. He said, now once you connect with them, then you can start doing something
Yeah.
different and then watch them
Follow.
because they'll do it. And he said it's a great bar game. I've never
Yeah.
gone, I don't go to bars, so but um in our I've used it with doctors and team connecting. So it really, really helps you feel part of it. And I know that it started when they were studying monkeys and watching the family of monkeys, right? And how they all pretty soon the whole village of monkeys was doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. So, yeah.
It makes sense that when we feel close to someone, that we would mirror them because we're connecting with them in an energetic sense. And I felt that connections as a coach, and especially in the energy work that I do. When I first started coaching and doing energy work with people, it was exhausting to me. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I realized I would connect with my client and we would get all kinds of work done. And I'd go on my merry way and they'd go on their merry way, but I never disconnected from them.
Mhm.
And I do 2 or 3 sessions like that in a day, and you just got this drain, I would be wasted. And when I learned the technique of establishing a boundary for myself or disconnecting or doing both, one of the things that is really helpful for me with the boundaries is, especially when I'm in a difficult conversation, someone who's heated or feels really intense about something, especially if it's something that I brought forward. I can
When you,
imagine myself, and I'll
when
do
you
it with
call
my,
me out on something,
oh yeah, if I call you out on something, yeah.
I
Or
can
if I'm
get
having a
spicy.
conversation with my husband, because we connect all the time, right? That's just, we are one unit and we connect. But if we're differing and it starts to get heated, I don't actually do it with my hand, but I can see myself do it with my hand. That's your energy. This is my energy. That's
Mhm.
your energy. This is my energy. I'm going to bring all of my energy back to me. And I can feel when I say it, I can feel the energy come back into me. And I can feel this little just invisible space where all of your emotional energy stays there and all of my emotional energy stays here. And then I can think clearly. Because when I'm in something that's heated, I get too much going on in there. I can't think clearly to articulate. You'll hear me stumble over my words or not be able to come up with a word or whatever. But when I can separate that boundary and you're there and I'm here, that gives me space to be able to think clearly.
You know what I've added to that, Beth? Because
You tell.
you taught me that kind of visual.
Mhm.
I've added that, and I allow you to have your
I
energy
allow you. You have
because
yours.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
because part of like us wanting to be coaches and helping, we want to help with that energy. So it's like no, and I'm allowing you to have your energy.
Well, as long as we're going to expound just a little bit farther, you have your energy. But then when it's over, I bring back, and I usually ask God, bring back all of my own energy, clean and pure to me.
Mhm.
So that people are not walking off. I find when I sing in front of a congregation or in front of a group of people, I learned I would make eye contact, and as soon as I made eye contact with those people, I would feel this surge of emotion.
Mhm.
And so I got to where I just didn't make eye contact, but that doesn't make for very good singing. And so I started to use this same technique with when I make eye contact, that's yours and this is mine. And when I was finished, asking God to bring back all of mine so that I leave the room with my energy plus his,
Mhm.
you know? Yeah, it makes but just to be able to hand somebody back their own stuff, that's liberating.
Yours. This is yours. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
loved,
I'll support you, but I don't want to carry it.
Mhm.
yeah, I really loved when I was first introduced to like kind of that energetic boundary was with Dr. Bradley Nelson,
Oh,
who
I love Dr. Nelson. His work is so good.
it is really good. I mean, he goes into quantum physics, he goes into really how energy works, and
Yes,
it
he's
made so
brilliant.
much sense to me. Um, and something, so if you look him up, he's written the body code, the emotion code. He's got
And
a
the belief code.
the belief
And the
code.
belief code. Yeah, he's got a whole. My sister did the training for the belief code, and it's wonderful. It's very
It,
cool.
yeah, his stuff is really, really good. But one of the things that not but and one of I'm
I know.
working, see, I'm practicing.
More
And
ands, no buts. More ands.
yes, it one of the things that
That's
he
sorry
taught
to
me,
interrupt. It just reminds me of the should stick. Ands,
right?
not
Yes, I
buts.
was
No
just
should
thinking
stick.
that. Yes,
Yes,
I'm working on that.
it's good.
Catching myself now. So he talks about shield up.
Oh
And
yeah,
for
I'd forgotten
that's
shields
what
up.
shield up, right?
But he started
So
that with an intention at the very beginning, right? Where you
yes,
build an energetic shield for
yeah,
yourself.
Mhm.
yes. What
And
does it
then you
look like?
create the intention, you can just shields up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's still, and my shield still allows what needs to come
All
out.
the good comes
People,
in.
when I'm present, yeah, when I'm present with those people, it allows that. But when I create that energetic shield, it protects me from anyone else's junk. And
Yeah.
at first I was like, yeah, I
That's
don't
a little
know.
woo woo,
This is
you
like
know?
woo, I don't know.
But it ties back to Mel Robbins' let them theory
Exactly.
in the same way. I think when we make the deliberate choice to let them have their stuff
Yep,
and let me have my stuff, it creates the same kind of thing.
it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, when you look at quantum physics, it's hard to explain what it is, this science and this study, because so much is involved, right? We're talking about atoms, we're talking about all of the matter and energy that is present that creates our world as we know it. And
Yeah. But
so
it's real.
real,
Just
it's
because you didn't
real and
study it
not
doesn't mean it's not
explainable.
out there. Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
wish I could say that. I didn't study trigonometry, but it's still there. You know,
right, right.
it's still there.
And some of those things, I mean, some of those things, like when I think about a certain person and I haven't thought about them in eons, right? And then all of a sudden you get a phone call from them or
Mhm.
a text,
Yes.
and
And
you're
there
like,
they are.
hmm,
The vibrations and the frequencies in the world.
the vibrations and frequencies. And I want to not have such a boundary up that I can't receive things like that, right? So it's got to be a boundary that is
Loving.
loving and it receives, like we're willing to receive the good, but
Like
keep out
like
the
a
bad.
permeable
Like a
membrane in
filter, a filter.
biology. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What do you know, Jen?
Hi. I'm just thinking about a lot of things right now. One thought that kind of came to my mind is I kind of wonder if like why smiles and yawns are contagious. Is it the mirror neurons? I don't know. I just my brain's kind of going all over the place. But no,
I could,
yeah, no, I honestly believe like with the whole like your thoughts, create things, and everything is created
Spiritually
energetically,
first.
spiritually before. And so I can see how, like just your thought of like, I'm not going to allow my energy to flow into somebody else. I'm not going to allow somebody else to flow into me. I want it to have these certain qualities and technique. And I can see how that could be like, that shield type thing. So I'm just thinking a lot of things right now, a lot of thoughts.
And our
What if we were
intention.
intentional? Yeah.
Yeah.
What if we were
Jinx.
intentional about that boundary and that energetic protection and what we will allow? Present and intentional.
Yes, present and intentional. One of the things that I learned, it was actually at a healers conference where there were a bazillion people, and I'm more of a lone wolf, or a small group person, but there were a bazillion people, and it was 3 days, and we were there all day long with everybody. And by the end of the first day, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I just can't. And I took it to God, and what he gave me was connect yourself to me and let my energy flow through you and out to everyone else. And you will not have that problem at all. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so in morning prayer, when I talk with him, if I'm going to do something like that, that is my intention. Help me to stay connected to you. Help me to think like you think. Help me to be like you are. And let your light flow through me and bless other people. Well, his explanation was, if it's all flowing through you and out, there's no room for you to take on their stuff. And I'm like, oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So I don't have to shield up. I can just through my creator, stay centered in my creator. Not that I can do that 110% of the time because I'm human. But when I do stay centered in my creator, then there's just not that issue at all. Yeah, because his light takes care of all of it, which I think is amazing. That's, for me, it's unfathomable, that it can be that powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that I didn't shield and I took on a bunch of junk. What do I do to get rid of it? I'm walking around where I was great before I went into that group, and now I've come out of that group and I'm just as cranky goes. What do I do?
Get curious, like recognize, figure out why, right? Okay, what just happened? What
shifted?
Shifted. Yeah, get curious. Yeah. I think that's the most powerful thing is Jen's curiosity and let's look at this. Let's look at
Well,
this.
and I find
And at what point, right? Because you should be able to point it. So interestingly enough, I was driving home from taking care of my grandkids. It was 3.5, 4 hour drive. And I got to a certain point and everything had been fine. And all of a sudden, my right wrist, which had been bothering me before I went over the mountain, as I entered this certain point, and I was totally aware, all of a sudden my wrist started hurting. And I'm like I'm not doing anything weird. I didn't pick anything up. It was
right.
like,
I'm just sitting here.
What, wait a second. What just happened? Right.
Uh-huh.
And then getting curious about, well, why did that shift? Like you said, right, Beth?
Right.
Why did that pain just start again? And it was intense. And getting curious and it was because I was closer to home and I'm starting a new position at work with different responsibilities. And I had a meeting, that was set up and that was the underlying cause. And as soon as I was able to pinpoint that and then turn that over to my creator and breathe, right? Take that
and trust in him that he will take care of that for you.
Yeah. That
was better.
That pain went away. Yeah.
What I love about it is our bodies will tell us what our mind is swirling around. Like,
yes, and it may just be chaos up here, but what's going on in your wrist will catch your attention and you can sort it.
Right.
As long as you're aware and say, okay, what are my thoughts? What's going on? That whole curious thing.
Yeah. Instead of, my first response was, what? How did I tweak that? Like turn
That's
me.
rude.
No, you started the process. You started the process of figuring it out because usually we go physical first. What did I do physical to it? And when
Yeah.
you could come up with a solution, then your brain started to give you answers. I think that's cool.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so she started the physical. What do you do next if it's not physical? What's the next step?
With the emotional. Yeah. Then it was, okay, well, what's going on? And turning to my creator and just saying, okay, you're gonna help me figure this out. Why would my wrist be hurting? And why did it start at this point? I'm excited to go home. I haven't been home in a week. Like
Right,
there's
I
so
want to see my
much.
husband. You guys have been
Yes.
missing each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is it? Does it have something to do with, and I started like, oh, all the juniper trees are in bloom. Is it an allergic reaction, right? Oh, is it this? Is it that? And it was just in that process of going through, and like
You're
you
listening, and you're listening with your heart then.
yeah, and then
And you feel it.
it was, well, am I stressed about something? I don't feel like I'm stressed about something. And then it was like, yeah, I am.
One thing I
You're
do,
like, oh man.
one thing I do when it's a certain body part, I will also kind of think, okay, what is that body part's purpose? So like your hands are created and doing and working. And so then okay, so am I like, what's going on about something I have to do, I have to make, I have to create, my inability.
Well, is there somewhere I feel powerless?
Yeah, it can be that too. Or like there's something that's going to be painful or hard, because it's not easy because something's telling me it's going to, because the same thing can happen. Like if you've got a stomach ache, what am I not digesting or not,
Yeah.
It's plantar fasciitis.
What is
the spot in my heel
Yeah.
that will start to get really uncomfortable. And I first learned about it like 35 years ago, plantar fasciitis. And I went a full summer in agony, didn't know. And then when I started to get involved in doing more energy work, I began to, and I think I may have learned it from you, Jen. Where do you not feel like you can go?
Mm-hmm. The feet usually are supposed to take you someplace.
Right, because your feet are supposed to take you someplace. Or is there something planned in my future that I don't want to go to?
Keeping you from,
Yeah, well, in my foot, it's the same foot that hurt me 35 years ago, but it's so funny because it's almost like a little barometer. It'll get sore, and I'm like, oh, my first thought is to complain. I'm still working on that. I really love my first thought to be curious, but it's not there yet. But when I get curious, 10 to 1, 10 times out of 11, I should say, almost every single time, it's something I just don't want to go do. Something that feels too hard or something that feels scary, or my feet don't want to take me there. And when I resolve it, and most of it is simply recognition and then taking it to my creator for trust, my foot just gets better. And then I can say, oh, thank you. Thank you, foot, for being such a trusted companion. You helped me. And I know if somebody had said that to me 35 years ago, I would have told them they were nuts, totally nuts. But it's the times in which we live. We are just much more enlightened than we were 35 years ago. And really do give us a lot more signals. A headache or an aching heart for not a specific reason. A backache's a big one, or hip, backs and hip.
Yeah.
Big ones for when we feel unsupported or taken advantage of in some way, or not cared for, like, or our shoulders when we feel like everything's on our shoulders to get it done. Yeah, but you ask the questions. And for me, a lot of times if it's a hard one, I have to write it down and kind of have a conversation, journal it out, conversation, and let my mind slow down enough that it will come out. Then I can get that light, careful too, and the clarity in my thoughts, and claim it and work it out. Have a conversation with somebody I didn't want to have a conversation with, Yeah, and then it's better. It's wild. Who would have thought our nervous systems would be so intricate and so just intertwined with all the people around us, that connection was that big of a deal for us as human beings. It's wild. So y'all, next time you're at the grocery store, if you get the wonkies, ask the question, what just happened? Is this mine? Or if you're worried about have to teach class, or you have to do something and all of a sudden your head hurts, you need to work with that fear a little bit. Yeah, because it's probably not a real headache. It's probably that your body just is telling you have fear that you need to work out.
I do want to do a little disclaimer.
Yes,
because
do the disclaimer.
Because our nervous system is also there to protect us. So
very much
understand what is really a legitimate fear and what isn't. Because, it will keep us from harm. It's there to keep us alive. But in our modern society, it's kind of skewed a little bit. So I mean, like, don't think that if you're getting that feeling because, I would believe
trust it.
A real fear. Yeah. So
yeah, that's different.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah. So don't discount it all the time. Because I've had those where it's like those were legit.
Protected.
Yep, agreed. And you know it.
Feelings.
Yeah.
Don't talk to that person, or your personal space that goes out 8 to 10 feet around you, because your body is an electrical instrument, runs on salt water, right? It's electricity. Somebody comes in there, you felt it, where it's like somebody's in my space and I need to back up.
Yeah. Right. And it could be for the legitimate reason that is just not a safe place to be. And it could also be like, well, maybe I need to, just look further into that. Now, why didn't I feel safe? And then you could figure it out, but don't discount those things. That's my disclaimer, because
that's a good disclaimer to have.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's something that Mark always said. He said so many times when people showing up as a police officer, he'd show up to a scene and people 9 times out of 10 would say, I had a feeling. I had a feeling I should have stayed stopped at that red light.
Yep.
I had a feeling that I had a feeling that, that I shouldn't have entered into my house, or I had a feeling. And he's like, that's something he ingrained in us. And that's why when I had that experience going up that hill.
Yeah, with the guy on his porch.
Yeah, I had that feeling. And then it was really cool to have that shift.
Yeah.
Later on. Yeah.
But you didn't go to in that not knowing. You even took your dog, you took your mace, and you did things to prepare yourself, to make yourself safer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But then I was open, right, to learning something different if that was the case.
If that was, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Jen. That was very important.
That's an important disclaimer. That's good. All right. Well, let's talk about book club for a second. How are we doing?
We're going to finish The Small and the Mighty this week, and then we're going to move forward with a book, just a story that I have to get the approval from the club, but I'm fairly certain we're going to do a story that's based on it's called The Story Keeper by Lisa Wingate.
And I like Lisa Wingate. I'm listening to Endless Summer by her right now.
Yeah, The Story Keeper is all about the people in the Appalachians and the Melungeon people. So it's got a lot of facts in there, and it has to do with, that one person can make a difference, which is a follow-up to The Small and Mighty. So yes,
that'll be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, we had our joy meeting, our joy retreat on Saturday, and it was fantastic. Sadly, we did not record it, but so you'll just have missed it. But we have another one coming up in August, and so if you're sad you missed it, just hold that thought, and we'll do the end of summer, the entrance to fall, with joy again. But boy, we had really good attendance and really great discussion. There's so much wisdom in the women that follow our podcast and that are part of the CMH coaching family. I was just really grateful that I was there and learned from everybody.
Me too. Beautiful. Me too.
Great.
Yeah.
So hang around. We'll do another one in August. And come to book club. And Jacine will solidify what it is next week, but most likely it will be Lisa Wingate. What was it called? The Gatekeeper?
The Story Keeper.
Story Keeper, thank you.
Yeah, The Story Keeper.
Thank you for listening, Jen. I'm the one that said it now.
Like I pulled it up on my Amazon, so that's
Oh,
why.
good. Oh, good.
You did the next step. That works.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that. And we will see everybody next week.
Yeah.
And then it's one more week till vacation. And then there's a whole month off. And you can miss us, but we're going to go play. Y'all have a beautiful week. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on linktree/cmhcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Whoa, day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. What you thinking? 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 You gotta watch your